Hi, welcome to today's session. So we are supposed to be doing this particular session, which is session 02D, session 02D, which is testing tools, writing config files like an engineer. So when I started, I found out that this is a build up session from 02B. So remember that after we were done with the previous session, we deleted all the folders and files. So now I have to recreate that, and I'm going to update it in the GitHub repo because we need to redirect our files to the correct folder or to a new folder. So to do that, because like I said, this session, this is what we're going to be doing today, but it's a build on from this other session. So we need to first of all create those folders and files again to be able to proceed. And I wanted to share that so that you're not confused, right? So to do that, we are going to cd into our parent directory, which is our GitHub repo right here, VOH Cloud Frog. Then instead of creating this project folder within here, because if you look at if you do ls here, you see that this has sessions, and that's how I want to do. I don't want to create a project um, under this particular folder. So I want to create it inside the particular session, which is 02B. Yeah. So I'm going to cd into 02B. Like I said, I'm going to modify this file and push it into the repo. 02B. And now I can now go ahead and I've created the project folder already. Okay, so I don't think I have. I hope, let me find out. So there's a command you can use to check your last command. So I'm going to take my last command because I thought I already created that. Next, yeah, no, I created. Oh, I created it here. So, yeah, that's the correct equation. Okay, so I think that I CD into the wrong. So let's go back and go into the correct folder. Yeah, I do the anything so that it's not a blend. So there it is. That's the project folder that I already created. So now I have to modify this location. So it's going to be session. Let's do it. So we're going to change that. Let's see. VOH file. So this is a trick problem. And then replace anything that has that. So we move it for slash session dash 02A. Yeah. So I want it to replace this with that. Let's hope it doesn't mess up. No. Look on so you have to type it out. Let's do it. Yeah. Okay. Replace this with that. Projects, right? Fix it. This for yes, exactly. Before we want. Okay, so it is so now this is the correct structure. Not that the other one was wrong, but we are now putting it within the session, not inside our parent folder. That way it lives only in this folder. Okay, so now we have to also recreate because we look at our project, we'll see that there's really nothing there. Okay, I think I also created this as well, right? Before I see the project, VOH, infra, so we have project, and inside project we have the config log. So I'm about to create this. I need to create this code. So I'm gonna do that now. Look there, remember the dash D, which is the parent, and then we run this. We're already here. So all we need to do is copy this button. Now we also needed to there is let me find out. There is a file we also need to create. So the best thing is just to go in and so this file inside the config. This file voh-server.com. Okay. Let's go ahead and replace all the stuff we deleted. But now we're going to create it inside the session O2 and you're on your end. So let me go back here and find it. Okay, so this was where we created that file. We move this into that. Okay. So first of all, we need to get the content of this. Okay, so to do that, let's find out what to move into the server.com. So I think we move the text inside of that server.com. That's what. So this is the text that inside server.com. Because if you notice, we put the text in here, then we copied it from draft into server.com. So we're just going to do it directly in this case. Okay. Copy and then we get this server. Command again. So I think good now. So we can now proceed with session O2B. Okay, so session O2B, which is our actual session today. Okay, so it's talking about O2B. So far, your manager is pleased with your file system work. You need to get labs in your queue. We need you to update a config file on one of our test servers. Remember, the configuration files live in the /etc folder. You will not have a desktop GUI. So your GUI is like, the graphical user interface. You're just going to have a terminal because as a cloud engineer, most of the work is going to be done on the terminal. This means you need to know how to edit files directly in the terminal. You need to learn Nano first. It is beginner friendly, then get comfortable with Vim. Vim basics. It is what you will find on most production servers. Then write your first local config file using what you have learned. So we're basically going to go through the Nano steps first, and then Vim. I actually use VR, which is very similar to Vim. So after this, you're going to be learning, I think what you're going to learn after this session. Okay, why not just use a tool? So these are the concepts. When you connect to a remote server, you're going to be connecting via terminals, using a terminal connection over SSH, secure shell. That is for 222. There's not going to be a desktop. It's just no file explorer like in your Windows. You're just going to do command line and nothing else. So you need to learn how to use a big file. Okay, and in Vim, we have like three modes. The normal mode where you start, the insert mode, and the command mode. So in the other session, you will have noticed when I went into a file and I edited a file and saved. But I didn't really explain all of that because I knew this session was coming up. So the most important commands we need to know are these ones right here. And then we go on with our lab. And this is our lab right here. So we are already in session. Okay, so we are here. It needs us to, we're going to be in this session. So it needs us to get into project VOH infra. We need to cd into project VOH infra config. Okay. So it says edit a file with Nano. Open the server config file you put in session 3. So this file, remember, let's ls and see. So that's the file right there. That's what we just recreated after we deleted the ones we initially did. So we are going to Nano inside Nano VOH. Okay. How we do it. File is done. File is within the VOH. So now let's Nano. So it says we are now inside Nano. So this is the power concept. So here are the shortcuts. So that's why it says beginner friendly. A list of shortcuts shown as D. So X, and this means control. So this sign means control on your keyboard. Use the arrow key to move your cursor to the end of the file. Add this content. Okay. Okay, so we're going to use our arrow key to the end of the file, and we need to add this content. So you need to type it out because typing builds your muscle memory. But for this, I'm going to be copying and pasting. So this is an example of a configuration file. So it's saying UAE server configuration, environment development. So this is like an Ansible playbook, an Ansible file, configuration file. So I'm just going to copy, but please type it out and paste it in here. So it says to save the file, press Ctrl O. So let's see Ctrl O. So you see that. So press down Ctrl on your keyboard and you press O. So it says then press Enter and then press Ctrl X, which is exit. It actually tells you what the shortcut or what the it tells you what the command means at the bottom right there. So you do Ctrl X and you're out. So now if we cat VOH, you see the stuff that we listed in there, right? Plus the what was there before we got into that part. You see. So that's how you use Nano. Nano is beginner friendly because it shows you what each of those commands actually do. You can actually look at it and know what to do. So another part two says Nano shortcut practice. So we're going to open the file again and practice these shortcuts. Okay, so these are the shortcuts, and these are what the shortcuts are going to do. We just nano back into the file and practice using this. Control O saves, Control X exit, which we just practice using this thing. And we go through the list and practice that. Then we are going to go to part 3, which is Vim. So we are going to create a new file called a new file using Vim. And the name of the file is going to be this. So let's go ahead and do that. So we do Vim dot CSV file. So this right there is the normal mode. Once you click enter, you are in the normal mode. So if you start typing, you notice nothing is happening, right? You have to click on I on your keyboard. And then you see that it changes to insert. So insert means you can now type. So you need to type in this text as well. So I'm going to copy and paste, but please type it. Remember, we're building muscle memory. So I right click and paste. Now, to go back to normal, you click escape on your keyboard. Escape, and then you click on the shift button and the column button. It will show this sign right here, this dot, the column. And then you do WQ. WQ, W means save and Q means quit. So you do that and you click enter. Now, if we cut V, you see our file. This is my first Vim file, VOH-Session, right? Now, let's also say practice with this. Now, practice the emergency is open the file again. So, so we are going to make a change. Type I, add something, you change your mind. Okay, good. So we do. To make a change, you have to press the I key. So I press that and it says insert. Then I'm going to add some text. So I'm going to try to quit without saving. So I press the escape key, the colon, Q, and then the exclamation mark. Remember we added a test, right? But the other time after adding a test, we did WQ. But right now I'm quitting without doing the WQ. I quit and cut this file. You see that the new test we inputted is not here. Right? It's not here because we didn't save it. We didn't save it. So to save, you have to use WQ, or you could also use X. Okay, so let's actually do that. Let's bring into the file again. You do I to add first, arrow down, write the text again. This is a text. Escape, you do the column, you do X. Now if we start to, you see that it's saved. The same way we use WQ. So Now, write a real configuration file. Your manager has sent you the specification of an Nginx web server configuration file. So you're going to write it from scratch using Nano. So let's go ahead and create this file right here. So go Nano, and yes, you have to type it before because this is a new file. VOH.com. Okay, so we are here. It says type out this entire configuration, read each line and to type it. So you need to read it. So this is actually how Nginx web server is actually configured. This is actually how it's configured. So it's good that you type it manually. Get syntax error. Syntax error meaning maybe you missed a space or you put something in the wrong space. And if you don't follow that, you might miss out on the fun and the learning, especially the learning involved. Okay, so I'm gonna copy and paste it. First off, I don't want you to be too long. I copy, open, okay. I copy that. See, so this, like I said, this is basically an Nginx web server configuration listing on port 18. All of that are more advanced stuff. As we go along, we get to know about them. So now I've copied and pasted. I need to, exit the editor. And to do that, remember we do Control O, Enter, and Control X. Control O. So it's asking me, do I want the file name to write this? Do I want to write into this file? Enter, and then I exit. Control X. So if I cut Nginx com, see, my configuration file is fully captured. So now, if we could do, so I've started, so this is where we are now. Count the number of lines in the file. So let's go ahead and count. So WC is a command to count, for counting. WC is a command for counting. While W-L is line, means lines in the file. So let me do that. WC dash L, the file we're talking about is this file, right? So it's telling us that this file has 26 elements. Here's the number right there. You can screen, write the command again, and it gives us 26 files. Okay, so the next is part 5, searching inside file. So we need to, we are going to be using the grep command. The grep command, it searches for a pattern. If you give it a name, or yeah, if you give it a test, it searches for a pattern. That's what you do. So for this, we are searching all lines containing the word log in this our file right here. Okay, so we are going to be. Remember why I'm not including all these other folders because we're already in this location. We're already in config. So that's why I'm not pasting all this long command. So I do grep log inside this file. So here you go. These are all the lines that contain log inside our Nginx VOH configuration file. Okay. So another command you can use with grep is to grep -r. So it's saying find every occurrence of server inside this file. Case insensitive means whether the server is in capital letter, small letter, a mixture of, whether small or capital letters. Just grab all of them. That's dash I. That's the function of the dash I right there. So we are searching for the name server inside this file. And there you go. So you see here the server, the S is capital. Here is all small letters. And these other places. And this one is the compound name, but we still got it out. So every occurrence of server. So this can help you search through a file that, a heavy file. Maybe you're looking for command or a test or something. You can use the grep command. So this says show line numbers with results. So we are going to be looking for the occurrence of location in this our file. So do grep dash n location implication map, which is what we're looking for inside this file. So it says location is on line 23. Location is on line 23 of this our file. Okay. So now we can also say you can also search for recursively. So when you say dash R means like recursive search, means entire search across all files. Search across all files. So we're going to run that spread dash R, search what you're searching for is VOH across all files. So when this dot means in this location, right? In this location, that is basically what it's saying. Because you already in config, but you could also copy the row command. Okay. Okay. So just give it was in the longer starting from home. But here it gave us so remember when we talked about absolute and relative path, right? So here it was using from the relative path, or here here absolute path and here relative path. Okay, but the same result if you look out where the occurrence of VOH is. So all this has VOH on it. So grep is one of the most used tools in a cloud engineer's toolkit. So you're going to be using it a lot. So now we have the terminal shortcut. So this is just one of those things that if you have in your arsenal, it's going to help you a lot. The control C, like if I'm typing a gibberish or a command that has an error, if I do control C, it moves me to the next window or the next tab. Like it leaves this command I'm typing and gives me a fresh um, instance. It stops the current command. So it stops this gibberish I was typing and you just control C, it brings you here. Control L, let's have some and then we do control L to clear the screen. See? It clears the screen. But sometimes I don't like using it because it is full up to 60 on the command. But just clear the screen. But this one clear that I've been using, use this, it is full up. You don't see I'm filling up right now. I'm not seeing this command. Right? So if you are typing a command, let's say ls, you are typing a command and you made an error and you need to correct it. You do control A, because I've seen me using it. So Control A takes you to the front. Maybe the text you needed to change is from FF to VV. So instead of um, doing arrow all the way, you could just do Control A, brings you here. The FF is closer to this end, so you just remove FF and put VV, and that's it. You still, that's what Control A does. It jumps to the start of the line. While the other one, Control E, takes you to jumps to the end of the line. Control E takes you to the end. Control A brings you here. Control E takes you to the end of the line. Then Control U deletes from the cursor, from cursor to start of line. So if we do Control U right now, you see that's gone. So Control U gives you a fresh instance of terminal to keep typing. And of course, your arrow button up and down can bring up previous commands. So this is what's happening is bringing up our previous command. The tab, you have noticed me using that a lot. So ls, let's see what we have here. So that's the tab I'm using. With the tab, it gives you what is in that folder. So it's showing me what's in the folder. So if I type ngr, just with ng, provided there's no other file that starts with ng, if I do tab, it's going to complete it for me. Well, I noticed me using that quite a lot as well. So then the double exclamation marks repeats the last command. Okay, so it's showing me, you just throw the double exclamation marks, it brings out the last command. Okay. So let's practice that correctly. So he said you can cut, let's try and cut. I only did that. You know when I started this. But rather when I use tab complete, that's actually what it's called. Tab complete. So let's do that again. ls ng tab complete. Complete the rest of the text. So these are the checkpoints before you move on to the next. Kindly make sure you can do all of these. Nano, Vim. You might probably have some errors, but that's fine because it means you can get them corrected and then you learn from them. Thank you so much for joining and watching. Keep learning. See you next time.